Okay, we're going to redo Alita Battle Angel again real quick. We saw that one the other day, but the video came out fucked up. I'm just going to try to get some better background. Anyway, Alita Battle Angel, I recommended it. It was a good movie. Watching it, I was kind of like thinking to myself, man, if I was back, 10 years old, 9 years old, like I was back in 1977, this would have impacted me enough, as much as Star Wars: A New Hope. I would have loved that movie.
Yeah, the thing about Alita Battle Angel, like I said, I haven't read it's based on a manga, I guess, but I haven't, and it was, James Cameron was involved. He was had a producer credit and stuff like that. It really has that kind of mythic kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it feels like an epic.
It's very epic, very hero's journey.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're setting up a sequel. I'm assuming it might be a trilogy.
Well, it has
or whatever.
to be, yeah.
Yeah, because they left a lot of stuff open at the end.
She completes one part of the mission, but there's still a lot that she has to do.
I mean, if you've seen the trailers, kind of the gist of the story. The doctor played by Christoph Waltz, he finds a head essentially of a cyborg that has a human brain that's still alive, and finds it in a junkyard.
Puts it in a body, and as the movie goes on, like, I'm not going to spoil it. She doesn't remember who she is.
She doesn't remember anything about her former life, but they know where she came from roughly, but they don't know what she did before that. And so as the movie goes on, you kind of learn more and more about who she was before. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting too, because this is one of those movies where the more it goes on, like, you learn secrets about her, but you also learn secrets about the other characters as well, and
the history of the world that they were in.
Yeah, and the story just kind of deepens and deepens. Like, it goes in, like, you think it's gonna kind of be one way, and then it just kind of like expands the universe out and stuff.
It looks like a movie that's just about some cute girl kicking ass, and they call her a battle angel. She got big eyes. That's not what it's really about.
Yeah, that's a very, very superficial.
Yeah, she's got big eyes, and you find out there's a reason why she has big eyes. She's the battle angel. She's a real battle angel, and you figure out why. Or they show you why. It's a badass movie. The character Alita is very much kind of like Luke Skywalker, with that same hero's journey. Things very pure of heart, type of a good person, and she has to go through all these trials, and a lot of it is kind of moralistic trials, which when you see the movie, it's good. There's character development in it, and everything.
And a lot of bad shit happens.
And she starts to remember who she was, and
like little by little, she's like, her history starts coming back to her.
Right, and she's not a badass by accident. And I loved the movie. It was good, and I loved the movie.
Really liked it a lot.
It's up there with some of my favorites. It's up there with Mad Max Fury Road. It's up there with Empire Strikes Back. It's that good, I thought.
It was shot beautifully also. The cinematography was beautiful. Just the whole Iron City, which is, the name of the place where most of it takes place. Yeah. Just everything. It had kind of a little bit of a Blade Runner vibe,
feel to it. Right.
But it's kind of its own thing.
The storytelling was good. All the characters in it were good. There was no, what's a good way of putting it? It was just very kind of like Greek mythology type of thing.
Like
very
I said,
mythological.
It was a very mythic type of story.
Very much kind of like morality tales, and it's like kind of old school in that way. It's the guy who did this. You got Cameron. He's done a lot of good movies, and then there's the guy who owns an El Rey channel and did Predators. You know what I mean? He's has a pretty good track record of making good products. And this is a good story, man. It's almost kind of old school to me.
Yeah, well, it does seem like we seem to be getting back to that.
Kind of getting back to the core of what storytelling was.
Yeah, and this was a very good story. It was and like I said, they left it open. I mean, it's a contained story. She gets to a certain point, but they left a lot of things open. Yeah. Because I imagine that this is going to do really, really well. I mean, I think. Yeah. And
a battle angel is a Valkyrie. That's what they're talking about, and that's what she is.
Yeah,
and it's not just some. You'll find out when you see the movie.
There's like some kind of Viking shit in there. There's like Greek mythology in there. There's some Paradise Lost types. There's a
Buddhist
lot of that
type stuff in it. So you had a mixture. There's almost kind of like there's a Blade Runner, Star Wars, Conan the Barbarian, all that kind of mixed in there. Conan, the very first Conan movie. There's some of that same mythicism that you see in there. Okay, we just got done seeing Happy Death Day 2. It's the second part of the series, of course, or would be called 2. But it's about this girl named Tree, who's a college student who gets caught in this damn time loop. And she gets killed. There's this murderer chasing her in this time loop. And she dies. Every time she dies, she has to relive this day over again. So it's kind of like Groundhog Day, an old movie called Groundhog, kind of like that. But part 2, which what we just saw, it happens again, but it's in a parallel universe, and she starts jumping through parallel universes.
Yeah.
Turns out her friends, who worked up at the science lab, had this experiment going on, and they built a flux capacitor, and she got caught up in this time loop. And there's a lot of homages to Back to the Future 2. They even mention Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
They even have Back to the Future 2 posters in the guy's room. The tone is a lot like Back to the Future 2.
It feels a lot like an 80s adventure. Like I said, now I will say I would recommend seeing Happy Death Day, the first one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time following this.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll probably be able to follow it, but it'll be easier if you see the first one so you know what's going on, because they make a lot of references back to the first one.
Yeah.
And it will make a lot more sense.
I saw the first one. I had a hard time following it in certain places.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
It's complicated.
It's like any kind of thing with parallel universes and time
travel and stuff.
And, looping days and stuff like that is going to be complicated. It's hard to keep track of, but I think the movie does a good job. And actually, I'm going to say this: the first one was a little bit more like a slasher.
Like a slasher. This one isn't.
Yeah, like Groundhog Day if it was a slasher.
Right.
This one. The first couple parts of it is a little bit, it has some slasher elements, but it's actually much more like a sci-fi
adventure comedy.
Comedy, kind of, I would call it.
The tone's kind of all over the place.
I mean, there's gore in it, and there's horror movie elements to it, but it's not...
I think the gore was mostly suggested.
Yeah, I don't think... It's PG-13, so I don't think I'd call it a straight horror movie.
No.
It kind of crosses genres, but I think it did that pretty successfully. It's funny. It had, like... tension in it. Like I said, it had some horror movie stuff in it, but then it had like this crazy, it's what's weird, I was thinking of, definitely Back to the Future part 2. It also reminded me of, I don't know if any of you guys remember this movie, I think it's from like 1985, called My Science Project, where a guy finds a thing in a junkyard and then like makes I think Dennis Hopper was in it or something. It had a little bit of that, but it has like it very much had a very 80s kind of tone to it, which I really liked about it. I thought it was fun as hell, and actually I liked this one a little bit better than the first one.
It was better than the first one.
Because it was a more expansive story.
It had a bigger scope, and the ending of it was a lot better than the first one.
And it was weird too, because it had scenes that were actually like surprisingly touching.
I was gonna say that the tone was all over the place. I mean, it would be try to have tension, it would be try to be scary, and then it would be like almost slapstick comedy, lots of humor in it. It's like somebody was huffing a lot of glue when they made the movie. But it wasn't bad. I would say it was above average for what they're showing nowadays. I think if I were a little bit younger, I think the target audience is a little bit younger.
Probably.
If I was a little bit younger, I'd probably care enough to go back and watch it a couple times and sort it all out. But really,
it's a very complicated
at my
story.
age, I don't really give a shit. Like, okay, fuck your time travel. But no, it's okay. I mean, it's if you had to go out and see a movie, this would be better than staying home, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Like I said, I actually
there's a lot of shitty movies going on, and this isn't really one of them.
Yeah, I actually really liked this one a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was good.
And, really funny. Like, I liked a lot of the gags and stuff like that. And I liked, like I said, I liked that they expanded the universe out. Because the first one was good, too, but it was a very, it was a very closed story. It was just Tree, and she was, like, reliving the same day and trying to catch her killer and stuff. But this one kind of went off in all different... there were all these different universes going on.
If you really
and shit was different, like in various ones, and she had to decide which one she wanted to go back to, and all this other kind of stuff.
If you really, what I would say about this is that if you liked the first one, you'll really like this one.
Yeah, the tone is very similar, but it's less like a horror movie. It's more like a Back to the Future style sci-fi adventure type movie with some horror elements mixed in there.
I would say that this would be, for me, I'd probably find it more satisfying to own, like on Blu-ray,
Yeah.
where you could watch it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean, and maybe see some extras and shit about it in the making of. But it was a good theater movie too. It's just that some of it was just like very confusing about what had happened. And I started to relax. I said, you know what, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just gonna watch the movie.
Well, like I said, I would strongly suggest that you see the first one before you see this one, because otherwise you may be able to follow it, like if you pay attention, but it's much, much easier to follow if you saw the first one. Yeah. And we saw the first one like recently, so so I remember like
I remember some of the stuff that they were referring to.
Right, yeah. So.
But sometimes when she would die, I would forget that she died, and she'd relive that day again, and then it would be a little bit different. So wait a minute, that's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know? And then like, well, what is she going to do next? But it does kind of work. It works out. You know, you can miss some of the movie and still enjoy it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, as long as you like have a handle on the premise. You know, and the through line of the story, like, you know, they have to like figure out how to close the loop. Like, you know, so she can go back to the universe she was originally in and blah, blah, blah. So as long as you keep that through line, it's like you can still enjoy it, even if you don't enjoy all the subtleties. Because there's like a lot of little things that are funny, like if you...
So you're saying yes on this one. You're saying yes, I'm saying yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Like I said, I actually liked it better than the first one.
Okay, we just got done seeing. What was the name of this movie?
Isn't It Romantic?
Isn't It Romantic? This is a romantic comedy, and
like a satire of romantic comedies.
Yeah, it's a satire of a romantic comedy where it's like a fat girl fantasy where she gets hit on the head and goes into a parallel universe where everything's perfect, like in a romantic comedy.
Except she doesn't like it because she's super weirded out,
and she's trying to get out of it,
as you would be.
But then it ends up. It was good. It was within the genre of romantic comedy. It's a satire of romantic comedy that fulfills romantic comedy.
Yeah, I was almost gonna say. I was thinking. I was like, this is almost like the Scream of romantic comedies, where it's like a parody of the genre, but also a really good example of the genre, like a really entertaining example. Yeah. But it's it's the kind of movie that if you hate romantic comedies, which I generally do.
Yeah, I hate them.
But
this was good.
This was actually very, very funny, and like all of the, I mean, it was just so cute. Like all of the tropes that they
every stereotypical fucking shit's there.
And then and Rebel Wilson was so funny in it because she would react the way a normal person would react, like when all this stuff is happening. She's just like, what the fuck is going on? And she was like, thought it was super weird, and wanted to escape it, even though her life was super perfect now. Yeah. But it was just like I said, it's a romantic comedy, but it's one for people that don't like them.
Yes, I would say so. I'd never go see some shit like this, but I don't like romantic comedies. No, but this was fucking funny, man.
It was hilarious, funny. And like everybody in it was hilarious.
And everybody did a great job in the movie. Every character was done right. Everybody the performance was strong. Yeah, everybody. And you could tell they had a lot of fun with this movie, making it.
That was something that, especially like during the last sequence, I was like, they must have had a fucking blast making this movie. It looked like everybody was just having time in their life.
My hat's off to the movie. I mean, I don't like this genre, but this is a good movie. This genre.
And like I said, if you hate this genre, you should seriously give it a chance because.
I was watching it and I'm going, you know what? This is basically a Jack Black movie. With a female lead. It's if you like Jack Black movies.
That's actually a pretty
very close. Imagine if Jack Black was playing a female role in a romantic comedy. This is kind of how it would look like. But of course he isn't in it. They got a real female doing the role. But I could have really seen Jack Black dressed as a woman trying to do this and parodying it. It would have been even funnier. But the movie was pretty much like that. Think about it.
It wasn't. Yeah,
that was like a Jack Black movie.
In tone, it was very much
because it busts out in song and in song and dance and right where it kind of should. It's almost as zany as fucking Bollywood. Yeah. Almost like a Bollywood movie, as zany as that shit was. But it was funny.
And it was also kind of sweet, too, at the same time. Like, she learned a lesson and all this other kind of stuff. So, like I said, it still adhered to the romantic comedy thing.
It was a feel-good movie.
But it was, like, making fun of it, too.
Yeah, it was a feel-good movie, but it had a bunch of morality tales that were true. And then it kind of fucked with stereotypes and made fun of stereotypes, but the stereotypes are kind of true too. It was just, you got to see it to understand it.
Yeah, I think the writing was actually really
the writing
good.
was
just
very
really
good.
funny. So many like great lines, and like you said, like all the side characters were great. Like all her friends and everybody else that was in it was like really funny too. I mean, she's kind of the star of the show, but you know,
everybody did a good job.
And it was really good, really funny, and like that fucking saxophone at the end.
Yeah, I was fucking laughing. That dude did a good job as the romantic male lead.
Yeah.
You know, as like the stereotypical alpha male, he did a great job at that.
Yeah, that shit was so funny.
So I just have to say, you know, I'd recommend the movie.
Yeah, I would as well. Like I said, super funny.
There's no reason not to see it.
Even if you don't like the genre, it's still like just a funny comedy.
Because you can laugh at the genre.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still the genre.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like the Airplane of fucking of romantic comedies. You know, because Airplane was doing this same thing, but they were doing it with the disaster genre.
Yeah.
You know, but this is the romantic comedy genre.
Yeah, but this is kind of funnier than Airplane, because Airplane didn't age as well.
No, Airplane didn't age
as maybe.
No.
But yeah, this was actually really funny.
It was good.
Highly recommended.